My name's Adele Onyango, and welcome to another episode of Legally Clueless. No, seriously, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Hey you, welcome to this episode of Legally Clueless. Here is what's coming up.
But then, guys, I didn't want to become a failure. I had failed at being a good student. I had failed at being a good child. I had failed at everything. You really want to tell me I'm going to fail at being a wife? No, this was working by fire. I was going to make it at being a wife. I had promised myself that until I realized it's going to kill me in the process of trying to be good at something which I was not good at. And I left my marriage. And you would think that's a good thing, right? Hey, left my marriage at 21. Straight to the bar counter, and I decided to drink my sorrows. Now, one thing that I don't talk about, and people would think it's because I hide it, I didn't live with my son. I left my son. Yeah. I was like, where am I going? I don't have a stable job. You have more money than me. Just stay with your child for now. I actually left my son for a whole month. I didn't even go to get him.
That's part 2 of Annitah Rae's story. We're about to jump into that in a bit. I hope you're good though before we get there. And if you are new to this show, welcome to the family. We are Legally Clueless Africa. You are so welcome. Take a seat and enjoy our weekly shows. So on Monday, we have this specific show that goes out. So make sure you subscribe where you're listening to it so you don't miss out on it. On Wednesdays, we have our newsletter that goes out. Make sure you sign up for it on our website. A link is in the show notes. And the Midweek Tease also goes out every Wednesday, which has really become one of my favorite shows, honestly, where I unpack different topics around healing, just on a woman's healing journey, to be very honest. And then on Thursdays, we have For Mannerless Women. In fact, we have just shared our season finale. We're in season 4 of that show that features Dr. Claire. This is a must watch for every single woman. If you have watched it or you're waiting to listen to it this Thursday, once you do, share it with your favorite women because it breaks down every single thing you need to know about your menstrual cycle, endometriosis, fibroids, PMS, PMDD, FAM. And she breaks it down in a way that you can understand. It's not doctor speak, right? Anyway, I digress. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe so that you do not miss out on our super awesome shows. And if you're an OG member, I have nothing but love for you as always, every single week in every single show. Okay, before we jump into part 2 of Annitah's story, I just have one question because I'm still in shock. I'm not yet ready to unpack and discuss this. But have you watched the latest show on Netflix? I don't know if this is the latest season, but it's a new show on Netflix. It's called Worst Ex Ever. Yo, yesterday was like my chilling day, and I watched that show, and I think I had to sit in silence for a bit afterwards because I was just like, then we all must just be single because what is this? So before I even unpack, which I feel like I need to sit with it for 2 more weeks before I can talk to you about it. Before we get there, have you watched the show? Did it leave you as confused as me? Please let me know in the comment section, wherever you're listening to this on. But let's jump into the story in this episode. So last week we listened to part 1 and Annitah talked about her teenage years, running away from home, life on the streets, getting married at 17 is where we left off. So if you haven't listened to part 1, please listen to the previous episode so that this part 2 makes sense. Now, in this part of her story, Annitah reflects on surviving domestic violence in her marriage. Remember, she got married when she was 17. She also talks about navigating motherhood, building a successful media career while privately struggling with alcoholism and suicidal thoughts, which is a trigger warning in case you can't handle those themes right now. And my goodness, it's so powerful. There's one key takeaway I have from this part 2 that if you lean into it, it'll change your entire life. But first, listen to the story. 100 African stories on Legally Clueless. Stories from Africa.
He protected me from the whole entire world, only for him to beat me up himself. And he's the first person I told about my rape ordeal. Because we got married and stayed for a whole month. I couldn't have any sexual relations with him. And he was like, okay, are you okay? What's wrong? So when I told him, he was like, oh, don't worry, I'll protect you, which he did. From the whole world, he did, but then not from himself. That man bet me to reality. He bet me to my senses, literally. And I was a child. I had no idea what a good marriage is. That's the truth. So what I got, I thought is okay, because I got what I was used to seeing. I got the violence. I got the anger. I got the cheating. I got the whole 9 yards of chaos. The thing is, what bothered me the most is the cheating, because I had never had or seen that with my parents. Like my dad and my mom never had an argument over another woman, even once, by the way. So that was very new, and that's the only thing that used to bother me a lot. The fighting, fight, then we laugh. That's normal, but the cheating really did bother me. And looking back at it, that was actually one of my biggest issues. Like, why are you seeing other people? Like, we can fight, I'm okay with it, but can we not bring anyone else to this equation? 17, the first time he hit me was 5 months into my marriage, and I was so shocked. Remember, my father hit me once and the world ended. Now a man has hit me. And I didn't fight back, because I had not seen my mother fight back. So I thought, it's workable, we can work around it. And I got beaten for 3.5 years of my marriage, until one day I was like, if you hit me one more time, we might have a funeral. I think that's when my marriage just went down the drain proper. And so he hit me, and I didn't know what to do. I called my mom, and I remember up to date. And I always tell my mom, this is words I can't let go of, because you said them and they stayed and they can't go. She said, you're not the first one to be beaten. What women do, unavumilia, that's a Swahili word that says you stay, you stay, you be patient and stay. Unavumilia, you be patient. And yeah, you work on it. That man is giving you a good life. You stay. You said you want to get married. Now that's marriage. Way. Hey, guys, my marriage life started. That man knelt down, cried, begged me to stay. He used to call me Justice. Justice, don't leave me. I will change. Hey, Bambi, that became the slogan of my marriage. Justice, I'll change. If you leave me, I'll die. 5 years, guys. Every time he beat me, every time I had to go to hospital, every time he put his hands on me, he used to kneel and cry. Like, I have seen him cry, you would think he would die. And he beats me and cries, guys, not me crying. I'm not me the beaten one. He beats me and kneels down and cries. And it became normal. For me, actually, it became very, very normal. I got pregnant end of 2008, and I had my son on 1st September 2009. Ooh, best thing that I ever did was have that child. And I knew this child was going to fix my marriage, which he did for 4 months. Peaceful paradise. That man had hit me when I was 5 months pregnant, and it brought an issue. And I told him, no, I'm going to leave you. You can't hit me when I'm pregnant. So he had kind of transformed. Baby comes, we're extremely happy. I'm 19. I'm like, okay, all right, I got this. This is my child. I'll figure it out as it goes. I'm going to be a better mother than my mother. So my entire parenting menu has no advice. It just has one word. Don't be your mother. That's how I parent. And the thing is, the amount of unlearning I've had to do as an adult to become a parent is a lot. Because the only thing I knew is not to do what my mom did. And that's not parenting, by the way, because it meant I do nothing a lot. And it is very messed up way to raise children, because you don't do anything much. You just avoid doing things you think they're wrong. So after my son, my marriage, wait, went to the gutters. Because now I decided I want to do a short course. I want to get employed. I want to be dependent. He didn't like it. He didn't like it at all. But then I can be hard-headed. I was like, bro, I'm doing this for myself. I don't care. I have a child. I have to think about my child. So I did a course. I passed. I got a job. There the issue started, because now I was like, you're not going to beat me anymore. Then, against our better judgment, which we should have known, we used to drink together, and we were very bad alcoholics. And I used to smoke a lot still then. I only stopped smoking for 17 months when I was pregnant with my son and breastfeeding him. Now this is cigarettes. I used to be a chain smoker. And so we put up a bar. It was called Chillers. We had a good bar. Instead of us thinking how to grow us, but it was a good bar. It was a good business venture anyway, to be honest. We put up a bar. Two people who love drinking so much put up a bar. How hilarious that was. That bar brought chaos. Hey, that bar brought trouble. Chillers was the trouble of trouble, to be honest. But it was a good venture, I keep insisting. It helped us understand that we really were not meant for each other. And at the end of 2011, in 2011 August, I left, I think for 3 weeks. I went, rented a house, and stayed with my baby and my house help. I was done. I was tired. I was like, there's nothing to fight for here. Because I had gotten a call and I was told, do you know this number? I was like, yeah. He's just gotten an accident with his wife. I was like, Bambi, I am the wife. Or am I not the wife? So when I went to the police station, I was like, where is the man who was found with the wife? So I found him at the hospital and I told him I'm tired. And I was genuinely tired. I was like, I'm tired. I can't keep doing this. I am tired. And I think he realized I'm tired. So this time the whole justice, if you leave me, I'll die, won't work. He was like, I'll change. For 2 months, he really did change. Then, hey, when the demons came back, they were 7 times 7, 77. They came back. I was like, nah. On November 15th, on Tuesday, November 15th, at I think midnight or 1 a.m., that's when I left my marriage, by the way. 1:52 a.m. That's when I made that sober decision or unsober decision to leave my marriage and said, you know what? 2 things will happen in this marriage. One day I will sleep and I will do something stupid and then I'll have a dead husband and I'll be in jail and a child is going to be raised by I don't know who. Or 2, he's going to do the same to me. He's going to sleep up. He had choked me a couple of times till I passed out. I was like, he's going to choke me one day and I won't wake up. And he's not worth it. I have scars. My God, I have scars. We used to fight till the cops are called. You know, this guy used to choke me. I pass out. I had beaten him once. We had to go to hospital. I have hit him with a pan here. Jesus Christ, we used to fight. Like, we used to fight, and my neighbors used to be like, why? I mean, Annitah, you're 21. They used to remind me, you're 21. How are you fighting this much with someone? And why are you not leaving him? But then, guys, I didn't want to become a failure. I had failed at being a good student. I had failed at being a good child. I had failed at everything. You really want to tell me I'm going to fail at being a wife? No, this was working by fire. I was going to make it at being a wife. I had promised myself that until I realized it's going to kill me in the process of trying to be good at something which I was not good at. And funniest thing, how many years down the line? We're in 13 years down the line. I am still nobody's wife. I guess I still don't think I can make a good wife. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do. I don't know. And I left my marriage. And you would think that's a good thing, right? Hey, left my marriage at 21. Straight to the bar counter. And I decided to drink my sorrows. Now, one thing that I don't talk about, and people would think it's because I hide it, I didn't live with my son. I left my son. Yeah. I was like, where am I going? I don't have a stable job. You have more money than me. Just stay with your child for now. I actually left my son for a whole month. I didn't even go to get him. Then I came, picked him after a month. I stayed with him for months. Then I got unwell in 2012, April. I was admitted in hospital for almost 2 months. The drinking became too much because I became a real alcoholic. Like, I used to spend my every sparing minute at the bar. Get home at 5, shower, head to work, was fired for being drunk, went back to the bar. Funniest thing, I never lacked money for alcohol. But between that November and it was November to April before I got sick, I went on a madness spree. I would call it that because it was utter madness. Like, and I mean utter drinking and sexual randomness madness. Like, let me be genuinely honest with it. I went on a sexual rampage, like an actual one. Like, I wanted to, my ex-husband was the first person I had sex with. I wanted to see what's on the other side. And I didn't have someone to tell me no. I didn't have someone to stop me. Hey, guys, I used to be known for walking around with condoms in my bag. You would think I'm selling them. I was like, they come in handy, they do. And I went on such God, it was a lot. Like, every time I think about it, I'm like, wait, where did I even survive that, And it became really bad that when I got sick for 2 months, I remember when I got better, I called myself for a meeting. I was like, we cannot go back to doing things. This is a lot. We can't go back there. Like, you have to not go back there for your own sanity. Yeah? And so I decided, all right, Annitah, what do you want to do with yourself? I want to go to radio. I want to try theater. So I started visiting the theater in 2012. I started doing hip-hop Thursdays at Gabby's hip-hop. That's how I met people like Calligraph Jones in 2011, heading to 2012. Backstreet, Kickrock Road. There used to be something called Room 16 by Ondo, the street lawyer. Hey, guys. Man, I'm old. After hospital, when I was in hospital, 2 months is a long time. So I remember my house was closed. My house help was told to find someone to take my son. So, of course, told my sister to come get my son. My sister picked my son. My son was taken to my mom's place. My mom said she's not going to raise a child when the father is alive. So my son was given to the dad. So when I left hospital, I found out my son is staying with the grandparents on his dad's side. When I went to get him, they said no. They said, you don't have your act together. We are not giving you this child. First, get a house. Do you even have a house? No, so where are you taking a child? Made sense, to be very honest. So figure yourself out. So I sat with my ex-husband, and he was also trying to get back the family. He was trying to get us back together. So he was like, just get yourself together. Or just come back home. Just come back home. So it's when I rented a single room. I remember the toilet used to be outside on the bathroom, and I used to have a very creepy neighbor who used to just stand and stare at people. Very creepy. Anyway, I started doing events. We did the Arts and Beer Festival, I think in 2012. My God, that was my first biggest event. Hey, I even had some Nigerian artists, people. Hey, don't see me and think I just became Annitah Rae. You know, I didn't. Then I used to call myself Annitah. I can't say the name because that's my ex-husband's name. I had not dropped it yet. Then I dropped it. I think in 2012, I dropped it completely. So I started going to the theater. I was a good writer. I'm a good writer. So I did a script. It was called Sally. The script was about my life. I've always felt the need to share my life because I felt like someone could learn from it. I wrote the script. I didn't know how writing a script works, but I went, listened to these people at the theater. I used to listen. They used to have a lot of workshops for learning, so I learned. I wrote a script and gave it to someone for them to see if it's good enough. The next thing I saw was it being acted on stage. And they never paid me, and they told me, how do you prove the script is yours? Anyway, how do you prove it's yours and you gave it? Hey! Karibu Nairobi. Hey, Karibu Nairobi. Karibu town. Welcome to Nairobi. It was welcome to this town. Welcome to town. And I was what? I'm an emotional person. I invest emotions in everything. I was like, how could you do that to me? I was emotional. Hey, I was emotional. Very emotional. So I said I'll never write a script. Funniest thing, I haven't written a script yet. I am realizing in this conversation that there are things I need to start doing. I've forgiven these people. I should move on, yeah? So I decided to try radio. And I remember Get Radio was the ish then. So I wrote an email to Majimaji in 2012 September. I was like, hi, September or August, around there. Hi, my name is Phil. So I think I have a good voice. You know, hey, me, my kiburi, my pride, my ego cannot even fill the room. I was like, no, I think I have a good voice. You know, I could come to, I didn't even know what show I want. I just wanted to go to the show. He never responded at all. So I went on doing events, doing a lot of poetry. Fatuma's voice then was big at Power 254. So that's how I met Hat the Band. By the way, before they became Hat the Band, before they shortened Uliza Kiatu, it was 7 minutes, I think 10 minutes long. God, I've met some amazing humans. God, I've known some amazing people before they became superstars, yeah? And along the way, one day, now we've turned into 2013. I'm still doing events. We were doing more rap events for women with Sauti za Mabinti. I was all in the art and creative world, by the way. I was really big then, you know, in that. And then digital space was coming up, and I was quite interested in the digital space. So one day we were arguing it was about sex. And I was very bold and vocal about it. And a guy was there, was like, would you do a radio show? I was like, are you kidding? I would love to. I was like, can you come to Get a Radio tomorrow? He told me this on a Tuesday. So I went the next day. And I did the late night show. So the host was called Batman. One of my favorite human beings to ever be on a microphone with. So he called me Robin. So we were like Batman and Robin, saving relationships. Ooh. And there, my career started as a joke. It was an actual joke for me because all I did was be high and go on air. That's all I did. Like, I didn't know anything about radio, so I realized this is a chance to learn, right? I was not getting paid, nothing. I was just going on air to just talk to him about things that, social issues, and they loved my boldness. And you see, that's me. I've always been outspoken. Like, if I said I'm an emotional person, that means I'm very passionate. Like, I feel strongly about things. So if I decide today I'm fighting for you to be freed somewhere, I'm telling you I'll die fighting for it. I put in my heart into things. And that's where my radio career started. So, boom, Robin Rae was born. I used to call myself Robin Rae. Yeah, so my radio career started. Get Radio, late night. Then one day, I was all the way in Dar es Salaam. I'll never forget, 2013, October. And I got a call. They were like, will you do in the office on Monday? I was like, why? I keep telling people I have a very serious ministry of drinking in various towns in this East Africa. Very serious ministry. Like, I got to say, people are like, hey? A Ugandan friend was like, hey, Nyabo, the Lord is really working. I was famous for drinking. If you can imagine how much of a drunkard I have to be for me to be famous for drinking. My career started and I was in Dar and I got a call, you have to come. And I was like, why am I coming to work during the day? My show is at night. I don't want to come to work during the day. They're like, you have to. You really have to. So I came to work. And I was told, no, we're giving you the mid-morning. I said no. Straight up. Didn't even think, no. I do not like being seen. My stories are for darkness. I'm discussing things for darkness. I do not want. They were like, are you serious? They were like, no, you're moving. I was like, no, I don't want it. I struggle with change up to date. Like, if you were to meet at 2 and you change to 3, it will really disorient me. I really struggle with change, even of small things. And it's something that I know and I try to work around. So I always try to, it will take a minute, but I work around it. So I was changed to mid-morning. And I remember the first time Gafla wrote an article about me in 2013. They said, meet the girl who talks about sex during your lunchtime. Hey, hey, hey. There we go. And we had such a beautiful mid-morning show because we spoke about the things that were spoken about in darkness, in secret. Like we spoke about being a side chick. We spoke about like the things that were a taboo. We spoke about having children with people's husbands. We spoke about women sleeping around and they're married. We spoke about the things nobody. Mainstream media was so, they're trying to be politically correct. You don't want to offend people. We offended people for a living and I loved it. Oh, God, I loved it. And I blew up. I started getting known and it got to my head. In 2014, I was like, guys, I'm a celebrity. Guys, do you even know who I am? I'm Annitah. No, it was still Robin Ray. And I had this bars offering me, like, just mention us on air or put us on your Facebook, then come to the bar later. So I could tell people, oh, I'm going to hang out later. You guys come. Of course, not for me. It was feeding my my alcoholism. I got famous. I got famous too fast. And I didn't know what fame was. So I ruined it. Because I started drinking too much. Not showing up to work on time, not showing up to work, lame excuses, disappearing, being hangover, coming to work from the bar. I remember once we came from a party and we came to work and we written an email for you guys came to work untidy and smelling like a bar, which was true. We had come from the bar. And then we started having, there was internal wrangles at Get Radio and I got caught up in them because I decided to take a side and get really involved and I decided, if you're going to treat us like this, I'm not going to come to work. I forgot that one, I was not educated enough for radio. And the same way they had me, they could fire me because I didn't have a contract. We'll give you a 1,000 bob a day for 5 days. Are you good? Yeah, I'm good. That's it. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. Then that was it. Later when I went back, it changed. But then that was it. So, anyway, I got fired. So I remember asking them, how can you fire me and you didn't hire me? It was a very funny firing. It was hilarious. And I got fired. And when I got fired, I realized that I was not famous enough. Because within a month, everything died off. The calls, the sherehe, that thing, everyone left. I was like, wow, that was fast. Because I got fired in October and by December, I had no friends at all. Like, I had nobody. It was back to my hip-hop guys, my kawaida guys. But the new guys, all of them left. Like, you're no longer known. You no longer say hi to me on radio, So everybody left. And that was my biggest media lesson. You are never famous enough. You are as famous as you are on that microphone. Because when you get off that microphone, take it to the bank. Your fame decreases or dilutes almost immediately. It's not the same. It can never be the same. Even if you have a brand, it's never the same. It really can never be the same. So during that period, actually, I knew my radio career was over. I was like, well, that was short-lived. I had my chance at radio. I messed it up. So, all right, let's do something else. I got another job, got settled into the new job, 2015. And I told myself, no, I need to get serious with my life. I'm 25, get a child. This new job was a good job. So I was like, get a child and everything. And then I was not seeing my son. Like in 2014, my ex-husband took me to court. I took him to court. We took each other to court in the same month. He applied for a case, I applied. He filed a case, I filed a case. It was very nonsensical. We were being childish. So we were fighting. I was fighting for joint custody. He was fighting for full custody. He was staying with a child. And the reason he took me to court is because I said, we're not getting back together. He was like, really? You're not coming back? I'll show you fire. And me, I was like, really? You think I'll come back? I'll show you fire. It was a lot of just, let's show each other who. Hey, I have really done a lot of nonsense in the name of just trying to live. And 2015, I remember when Majimaji, the MD for Get Radio, called me and asked me to create a show in April. I thought I'm helping him as a friend. Created a show, Then once we created the show, Majimaji called me, sat me down, asked me to help him create a show. I was like, you're creative and you're smart. And he asked me, are you thinking of going back to radio? I was like, nah, that's for me, that has sailed. Where I am, I'm making good money. So why strain myself? And I'm living a kind of private life, So I can do whatever I want and get away with it. Nobody knows me and all. So in May, after my birthday, he was like, would you want to do a show with me? I was like, no. Actually, I really thought he's messing with me. And he was like, let's do a demo. I was like, Maggie, why you just don't raise my hopes over these things, And he was like, no, I'm serious. And we did a demo. And in June, we were actually working on a show. And we actually worked on a really good team. And then we came back on 1st July on a Wednesday, 2015, with a show called Breako. Woo, let me tell you something. The heads rolled in this town. Hey, we were it. Breako, it's breakfast. Breako meant breakfast. And we were it because people used to say we were unruly. Let's get a radio. We were unruly. We were ungovernable. We don't owe anybody any royalty. We don't have to be politically correct. We don't need to. We don't want association with anyone. We are good. We say it as it is. Ooh, we had a good show. I loved that show. Then, with no shame or respect to my work, I got pregnant. And I remember when Majimaji found out I was pregnant, he was so angry. He was like, the show is doing so well. You couldn't wait. Like, you couldn't give me time to just, So I got pregnant with my daughter. I really wanted a child. And up to date, if I'm grateful for something, God knew me so well that he gave me that child. Because if a year or two passed, I couldn't have gotten that child. Like, I couldn't. So I'm glad I got my child then. And so I got pregnant. And I remember I worked for 36 weeks of my pregnancy. And when I took my maternity leave, I had my daughter. I was really excited to come back to work. I was like, no, let's do this. Let's go and make this show something. Then I got poached. During my maternity leave, I got a call. Hi, my name is Titi Nagwala. I'm calling you from Media Max. I was like, Media who? Titi who? We were Get Radio was Nairobi and environs. This is national radio. So he told me, that show, yeah, that station, yeah, tell me. So, we were trying to talk to you about like me for your station. Guys, I don't know Swahili. He was like, no, floating down the idea. Do you want to come down to the station? I was like, let me first talk to Maji. I'm loyal, by the way, I'm very loyal. So I went to Maji. I told him, these and these people want to see me. He was like, go listen to what they have to tell you. Then you come, we talk. So I went, hey, these people doubled my salary with benefits. Hey, guys, I'm Kikuyu. Hey, they said that. I was like, hey. And it's a national platform. So everybody in my life was like, Annitah, do not fumble because we know you and loyalty. Do not fumble because me, I'm loyal to a fault. I would have stayed at GR. So when I told Margie, I was like, we don't have the capability to give you the money they're giving. I was like, but do you release me? I was like, yeah, I release you and bless you. They threw me a farewell party. Mimi huyo. One-on-one, tete-a-tete. I went to Bilal FM. The first day I walked into studio, there was a man. I don't want to say his name. Is a political analyst. And I remember he used the word, Hosusan, kwa sintofahamu. I left studio. I was like, what does that even mean? What language is that? They were like, oh, that's Swahili Sanifu. That like is Swahili the right Swahili. I was like, guys, I'm not cut for this. Me, I'm good with English. Me, you cannot ask me to say these things. And so they told me, we give you a month to sit inside studio and understand get the feel of what we want you to do. After a month, call me Aisha. My Swahili was top notch and money. God, my motivation was wrong. Hey. And that was it. My national career kicked up in radio, in media. And I had a beautiful stay there. But then I was really young for the show because the two co-hosts were 40-something. Me, I'm here 26. I come with a hangover every Monday. And these people, they don't drink. So I remember one time I came so high, I slept the whole show. And they were like, Annitah, do you think you'll survive here? I was like, no, I don't think so. I'm so high. So I left. But one of the reasons I left there was also, it was just a bit of lack of fitting in because I really was struggling. Like, I'm really young. I may want to talk about hangovers. Or I want to have my own show in the list. So due to personal reasons, I resigned. So in 2017, June, I resigned from Millennium Breakfast. I was like, adios. It's been real. I respect you all, but I'm sure God had something better. When I resigned, I didn't have a job offer. The week I resigned, I got a call. Hi, how are you? My name is Steve Agembo. I'm calling you from Radio Africa and for Radio Jambo. I was like, okay. So we wanted to speak to you about a few things. Can you come to the office? Yeah. So we know you're working here. This is what you're getting. So number one, we're willing to give you this. Hey, me and football players poaching. Huh? And the beauty of it, Majimaji told me one thing years ago. When you're working, work like someone else is listening. Because then you always give it your all. Because you don't know who's listening. So these people had me on air and they really wanted to give me a chance. What they did for me is what made my career and made me who I am today. They allowed me to create a show. Hey! I went in there and created the best. Guys, if I've ever had a career, it was at Radio Africa. And if I would go somewhere in radio up to date, I keep saying with so much passion, it would be at Radio Africa because they allow your creativeness to grow. They don't box you. I'm a creative. Don't box me. Don't limit me to your fears or your expectations. Just allow me to work. Because if you nurture my talent, my creativity, I'll grow. Hey, guys, I had a show for 5 hours every Monday to Friday. I never got tired. 5 hours. I had a segment called Deadbeat, which made me extremely famous. I used to call deadbeat dads on air and ask them when they are not raising their kids. Hey, the men in this town. I was most wanted. Men really hated me. Jesus, God, men hated me. Hated me a whole lot because hey, guys, I had a good show. So for 2.5 years, I had an amazing show. Then it got too much because I was dealing with a lot of GBV. Then is when I was starting therapy. I was taking in a lot of traumatic experiences. They were triggering me unknowingly. So slowly I started slipping back to being suicidal without knowing it. 2017, 2018, I started slipping back. I started becoming extremely suicidal. Extremely, by the way. And there's a time I had an incident and nobody knew it was a suicide incident. But then I landed in hospital. And I remember telling myself, this will not end well. I'm sleeping in a bad place. So I decided I want to work for a fun station where all I discuss is hangovers and sexual escapades. Like, please, guys, allow me to just talk about the things I'm experiencing. I'm 28, I'm 29. I speak like a 35-year-old woman who has a husband who's battering. I don't want to be that person. That's not who I am. So now I was like, switch up, guys, switch up. I'm looking for opportunity. And someone connected me to Hot 96. They poached me for 4 months before they convinced me to move. When they poached me, they wanted me to go to Citizen Radio. I was like, guys, I cannot leave a 50-year-old demographic for a 70-year-old demographic. Be fair. I'm looking for a 20-year-old demographic, you get. So they're like, okay, all right, let's do this. Then come to Hot. I was like, thank you. Oh, and Hot 96, I had the best drive show with one Patrick Egonza, a.k.a. Father Warrior, a.k.a. Zadze. I used to call him that on everybody. Like, this ones, you don't see them in good light. We had an epic show. Epic is an amazing presenter. Epic show opened doors for me to meet people like Jeff, encourage me, share my story. I actually shared bits of my story there. Went on TV with Willis Roburu for Ania. It was on Tuesday mornings. It was called Daybreak, where we talked about relationships. And the men, hey, I have offended men in this town. They used to be like, oh, men used to say it's not what I say, it's the tone I use when saying it. I'm like, that's how I speak. If you have a tone problem, it's a you problem. God, I could be harsh. I can be harsh. And so, problem is, with all this happening, I slipped back into depression heavily. And I used to mask it up with drinking. So I became a functioning alcoholic. Like I could barely go on air without being high. Barely. And I had I think 5 or 6 suicide attempts. Like there's a time I popped 153 pills in 2018. And I woke up in hospital and one of my mother figures was like, I have a gun. Let's not waste pills next time. She was very tired. I think she was at the end of like, Annitah, if you want to die, just die. Let me kill you. But we can't do this every 3 months, So I checked myself into therapy. My work was like, we have mental health care, wellness package. Do you want to take it? I was like, I think I should. So I started seeing a therapist. But then because I was not ready to heal, I kept lying to her. Like coming up with stories, not dealing with my trauma. But then I found a really good therapist who helped me work on myself. When I started healing is when I quit media. Like I resigned in the middle of COVID. Because for me to heal fully, I needed to step away from everything. I needed to step away from everything that I was using to cope. Because even my career was a coping mechanism, to be honest, because I hid behind it. I could get away with anything because I was drunk. And absolutely anything. I could get away with a maniac episode, which, okay, I really didn't have maniac episodes. But I could get away with sleeping around. Oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I need human contact. I could get away with anything. And I used that for a long time. I was a victim of everything other than myself. You get, I could be a victim. I was a victim of my mom. I was a victim of what she did to me. I was a victim of my siblings not having a better relationship with me. I was a victim of everyone other than recognizing that I was the problem. So when I started healing, I was like, I need to drop everything. So in 2020, I resigned. Took me a minute to get out of media also. Because still in 2021, I got mixed in media work. So I was in media till April 22nd. 2022, sorry. Yeah, that's when I really, really left media. Like anything media related, even events, even act, I just left media. I stopped doing my podcast. I stopped posting online for almost a year. I was like, guys, I want to breathe. And I don't want to be called Annitah Rae. For the first time, I didn't want that name. I didn't want it. And then for me, the reason I really took that break, one of my friends committed suicide and he was a media person. Hey, that one like just woke me up. Like, yo, that could be you. And part of me was angry that he succeeded. Like, why does he get to die? Why does he get to die? I felt like it was a success. How do I get to live and he gets to die? Like, I wanted to die for so long. I was like, God, that's so unfair. Like, he gets to die. He gets to not have problems. I was very angry. I was very angry and bitter. And I decided to take a step back, heal from a lot of things and be honest about where my trauma was coming from. That it was more of me not dealing with it rather than the trauma itself. I couldn't deal with a lot of things because it meant facing my demons and admitting where I was wrong, being accountable. Being accountable is the ghetto because you have to be honest with yourself and admit where you have used your trauma to manipulate people, used your trauma to get away with things, used your trauma to not even change. So for me, I hated that part of admitting that I have been the problem. But then since I did that, the healing. And then in 2023, God saved people. I have overhealed. Like I have overhealed for real. Like I've overhealed. And I look at myself every day. I'm like, God really did piece the brokenness in me together because now I can sit down and give this story not as a victim, but I give this story as a perpetrator of half of my problems. Because I keep saying that my parental problems ended the day I entered marriage. That's how I look at it, because then I had a choice and I made the choice. So I can't really blame my mom for me being married. And also, I can't blame my husband, my ex-husband for my divorce. I left him, you understand? But I dragged all these people along because I needed to justify my actions and justify I needed this trauma to justify myself. But now I give this story not as a victim, but as a perpetrator of the trauma in my life. Because in this whole story, I was the biggest perpetrator of my trauma because I refused to heal, I refused to deal, I refused to talk about it. Like, I left a whole marriage. I never dealt even for a day. All I did was drink, sleep around, drink. Me, I was known, and sometimes people use this against me. I was known for hit and run. Hey, me, I will come, meet a guy, hook up with him, give him a fake number and a fake name, then bail. That was, me, I don't want to be attached. I was very detached to people. And people used to be like, how can you be that detached? Are you not even human, And I'll meet you tomorrow and I'll actually really be detached like I don't know you. And for me, sex was nothing. Like, I actually can say this with all certainty. I never enjoyed sex. It was nothing. And when I was healing, I went back all the way to my assault. I other than my marriage and maybe my relationship which I had after my marriage, I never really enjoyed sex because for me, sex that was not in a relationship, I was doing it. I don't know why. I didn't have a reason. It was trying to fill a void that was not fillable. Because I always felt the need to want to do. But then when I'm sober, I don't want it. I don't even want to hear someone near me. Wait until I get high like this. Hey, I feel like I need to fill a void that was there. And for years I did it. But now I've been celibate for a while. I've been sober for a minute. And I keep telling people, I am, how do I even explain it? Like, there was such a void that needed healing. Because now I'm so healed. Someone hits on me with sex. I'm like, nah. People are like, no, Annitah, you don't know the benefits. I'm like, I actually do know the benefits and the non-benefits of it. So it takes a lot of accountability for me to give this story from this angle. Like, I'm not a victim. I'm not. The only thing I would say I was a victim of is my rape. That was a victim of. But then, it really did happen. And I can't live there. I was a victim then. I can't live there. I can't live. One of the things I'm going to say on this podcast that I've not spoken about and I hope to speak about in the future in other spaces. Is the reason I hate short men. I was raped by a short man. And people always say that I hate short men for, I don't have a reason. I have a valid reason why I hate short men. I have a valid reason. But then you see, that's a problem. I hadn't dealt with it. So I spent years hurting and saying mean things about people, short men. And it was such a thing, I even had a brand on it. Because I was just angry at them and they kept reminding me and triggering me and reminding me. But then you see, now that I understand it, I'd stop making every short person look like the person who assaulted me. I can separate it totally and fully and say, this person doesn't even know me. Of course, they didn't assault me. It's just a me thing. So one of the biggest things that I have learned and I really work on is self-accountability. In everything that happens to me today, the first question I ask myself, what was my role in it? Like even when someone does me wrong, the first thing I ask, what was my role in it? It helps me evaluate, because for years, I've manipulated people in my life with my trauma. Hey, oh, I was raped. Oh, and I'm speaking this because I know people do that. And sometimes people want to stay a victim because it gets you sympathy. It gets you empathy. It gets you get away with everything. You're a victim. But no. Self-accountability and healing it's important. It's extremely important. And the reason I agreed to do this podcast is not to share my story as a victim, but to share my story as a perpetrator in my own story, You get, like, I was part of the biggest problem I had. Because I could, God, the things I did and got away with because I was going through things. Oh, God, Jesus. Like, I got away with so much. When I look back, I'm like, where? I've written one of the dopest books. It's a sequence of 5 books. The first one is called Unseen, 13 to 19. Living home, sexual assault, child, marriage, blah, blah, blah. All my teenage years as drama. It's called Unseen. The second book, the follow-up book, is going to be called The 17-Year-Old Bride. Yeah, you can guess what it is about. That book is going to be called Free and Lost, because after I left my marriage, you would have thought with freedom I am. Then the other one is going to be called 30 minus me. I turned 30 and I just wasn't there. Like, you know how people say 30, Nini, life change? Nothing, I wasn't there. And then in all those books is Finding Christ, How I Got Saved. So we don't have a title for that, yes. But I want to call it Not Saved Enough, because I always feel like I'm not saved enough. So what I'm venturing into. So I'm writing my book, and I have a vision paper. I had a vision of taking my book to high schools, because if someone had maybe hugged me a little bit more when I was in high school, talked to me, told me I'm loved, I'm worthy, maybe, just maybe, you never know, I could have turned out differently. But then we would not have this story, would we? So I want high school kids to find their self-worth, like to not peg it on even their parents, because that's a problem. We peg it on our parents, but they're also maybe struggling to find their self-worth. We have to, as a society, we have a responsibility to teach children that they are loved and they can love themselves enough. And they're enough. They're actually enough. You don't have to try to fit in. You're enough without fitting in anywhere, So my quest or my mission, God has given me such a big mission because it's broken people. And every time I'm helping people, I have that heart of helping people. Before I got saved, it didn't make sense. Now it makes a lot of sense for me because I do it for God. I have a mission. I have a purpose. I'm aligned, and it's beautiful. Sometimes I get so mesmerized by how I can help people. And before I couldn't. Like before I could only try and then send you to someone. But then now I walk journeys with people. Some of my friends have quit alcohol. We've walked a beautiful journey, I've had random people just text me like, you have no idea what you did for me, And it feels so good that in my brokenness, in my finding myself, in my recovery from alcohol addiction, I actually am helping people. Can you imagine I'm only 16 months sober? By the time I hit 5 years, guys, I'll have 10,000 of people saying, Annitah, we're doing this because, I'll have kids in high school saying, if Annitah had not come to this school and spoken to me, I'll be married now. I would have dropped out. I would have gotten into drugs. I would have given into peer pressure. I would have done all these things. I want to change lives. I want to impact lives. I want my story, this story, to be the reason a girl changes her mind about her path. I want a parent to change their mind about how they're parenting from this. So I really, really do want to change lives, to be honest. Be honest to yourself. You can lie to the entire world, but be honest to yourself. Because when it all comes down and it's dark, it is you. It is you. When you close your eyes, it is definitely you. Even if you're sleeping next to someone, when you close your eyes, it is you and your spirit and your soul and your heart and your mind. So be honest to yourself. And life is too short to be broken and sad and lost. And sometimes it's easier said than done, but then you have to look at it as there has to be more to life. There has to be more to life. There has to be easy days. There has to be nice days. There has to be happiness. There has to be peace and calm. There has to be. And when you look at it that way, you always choose yourself. Choose you, because I want you to understand, if you collapse in that station today, tomorrow someone is going to sit in for you. The show will always go on. Always, never forget that. So choose you. Choose your sanity. Choose your life. Choose yourself. Choose your family. Choose you. Choose you. Before you even choose all those people, choose you. Choose you, your sanity, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. Choose you. Choose you. Choose you enough to always walk away from the madness, because the other side is peaceful and it is beautiful. It's beautiful when you do things on your own terms. Like every time I get a call from someone who wants me to get back on radio, they're like, but you don't have a job. I'm like, I know. And you're saying no. Yes. Why? Your terms are shitty. I know my worth. And my peace is worth, it's priceless. You can buy that peace. So I have learned how to say no if it's not serving me. So it's important for you to be honest to yourself. You can lie to the whole world. But when you close your eyes, when there is no social media, when there's no one holding your hand, when there's no all that madness, it is you and it is you alone. Never forget that. So you have to be honest to yourself and ask yourself, are you happy? Because happiness is key. Are you peaceful? Peace is key. Is key. It's everything. And if it costs you your peace, it's too bloody expensive.
Catch more African stories in the next episode of Legally Clueless. Ooh, what a powerful, powerful story. And I just have to say thank you to Annitah Rae for being so vulnerable and open with us. If you want to connect with her on her socials, we have linked them in the show notes. Please make sure you do. And when our correspondent who recorded this said, this story will change your life, I almost downplayed that. I was like, yeah. But like, it really will. One of the things that really stood out for me is when Annitah talks about no longer wanting to tell her story only from the perspective of being a victim, and when she talks about how she was a villain in her own story. And I think it takes an incredible amount of courage to do that and to say it, because accountability can be very uncomfortable. And of course, she's not taking accountability for like the violence, abuse, or assault, because that is somebody else's to take. Those were not her fault, but accountability in the ways she coped, in the ways she avoided healing, in the ways she used survival mechanisms that eventually began harming her too. So if you're talking about like alcohol, etc. And I think we never have that conversation, which is so important to have, because healing is not just about acknowledging what happened to us. It's about really sitting with ourselves, calling ourselves to an AGM and asking, all right, what do I need to confront within myself so I can finally be free? That's what I connected with. Oh my God, that's what I connected with. It really just reminded me that healing really does become powerful when we stop outsourcing all our power to our pain. Okay? And once we do that, we start choosing ourselves, our peace, our honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. It really reminded me, if you're an OG member of this family, I don't know if you remember this episode where we had Farid Kimani on. I think it was early last year, January of 2025. And he talks about victimhood and how you have to rise above victimhood so that you can finally be free to heal. Anyway, what did you connect with? Let me know in the comment section, wherever you're listening to this on. And if you, while listening to Annitah's story, felt like you have a story you want to share, you're African, you've got a story, we want to hear it, fill out our storyteller form. A link is in the show notes, and one of our correspondents will get back to you. Make sure you follow us on our yummy corner and safe corner of the internet. On TikTok and Instagram, we're at Legally Clueless Africa. Thank you so much for listening to this show and this episode to the very end. I truly appreciate you. And I know that you have every single thing it takes to heal. That's it for this episode of Legally Clueless. You can share this podcast with your friends. You can keep it for yourself. I'm not judging. Just make sure you're here next week for the next episode.